Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Let's see if I forgot that my microphone was not anywhere near me. Hopefully you can hear me here. Okay, there we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. This evening, I wanted to talk a little bit about Illuminism and how it applies to the Zeus cult, what the Illuminist perspective is on things, and all of that and whatnot. I also want to talk a little bit about my my memberships versus my free stuff. Hopefully, I'm going to be doing at least one show a week that is going to be absolutely free and available to everybody. If you like and would like to support that, there's a base membership thing that I qualified for now. So if you want to take a look at that, there's links in my details section where you can find out more information about that. So as I get more funding for this kind of thing, I'm going to do a lot more shows and whatnot. And then there's like a membership tier, and there's going to be private lessons that get shared once a month and whatnot, and so forth and so on. Anyway, hopefully it works out good for everybody. If not, then we'll do something different, but it's an experiment. It's a lot like Patreon. So check it out. The links are in the details there. The comments are in the details there. So let's see, where was I? Okay, all right, so tonight, what I wanted to talk to you about the real stuff that I want to talk to you about, is Illuminism and the idea of the Illuminati and the whole eye in the pyramid. You'll see up in the corner up there-ish, I've got that whole Illuminati thing going lately because I enjoy it very much. Pleasing to me to be a part of that. And what this eye in the pyramid has always represented to me is the all-seeing eye of the all thing, right? The perspective of what now I call Zeus in my cosmology here and in the Zeus cult. It refers to that all in all, that thing that is the all in all, that is observing life through us individually as we incarnate in our lifetimes, lifetime after lifetime, as we incarnate into our bodies and as we live out our lives. And as we make our choices, we project the will of Zeus into this world around us. Through our choices, through our decisions, through our magic, through our conjurations, through our personalities that we adopt. We adopt those things and we shape it around this core essence of whatever this eternal deity is that we manifest as. And we project that into this world, right? And we experience it as ourselves. But within us, there is an I, right? Crowley writes about it in I think it's not 23 Skidoo, it's Broomstick Babblings in the Book of Lies. He talks about skip witches and hop toads. For the play of the universe is the pleasure of Frater Perdurabo. And what he's talking about when he does that particular thing, what he's talking about in that particular essay is he's talking about how you are that skip witches hop toads for the play of the universe is the play is for the pleasure of Frater Perdurabo. It says for Frater Perdurabo is but an eye, and what eye none knoweth. The eye that he is the eye of the universe, beholding itself as he manifests through himself to experience himself, right? And that's what this eye in the pyramid is all about. That's why we're making these inside jokes about being the Illuminati, because each of us are an eye. And each of us has that eyeball of the eternal watching all of our experiences through our life, right? And each of us is a manifestation of that eye. Each of us is but an eye, experiencing our choices as we make them throughout the life. So that's what this eye in the pyramid represents to me within this whole Zeus cult thing. But where does Illuminism actually come from, right? So there's actually a whole belief about Illuminism that goes back to the Renaissance. And in the Renaissance, it was the time of the Great Enlightenment. It was triggered in my opinion, it was triggered by the fall of Constantinople and return to Europe of the knowledge it had lost when they were cut off from Byzantium. So basically, Constantinople fell, and all these occult texts flooded Europe, and the Medicis started translating these texts into modern languages, and the ideas of Hermeticism in particular returned to Europe, and we had access again to the idea that human beings were fallen aspects of this one eternal good thing in the Platonic system, and that we were ourselves good entities, and that we were worthy of what is this? Sorry, just a second. That is. I don't know what that is. Oh well, whatever. There's a box that I can see that I don't know where it's coming from. Still see it. There we go. All right, sorry about that. So where were we? We were talking about the role of Illuminism throughout the European history. So once our cult history had returned to Europe, we had access to the Corpus Hermeticum again, and we could understand that there was a process that we could go through to return to this unity, this idea of idealistic oneness with everything, right? And this idea had been lost to Europe, and we had thought that we had to get into God's good graces through the church and through the intermediaries of the church. The church had set itself up as the gatekeepers to the experiences of the divine. And for the first time, we realized that we didn't have to go through the church for all this stuff. So that was the kickoff of the Renaissance, right? And then after the Renaissance came the Enlightenment. We had the whole scientific enlightenment that came after that, where we had all this great scientific understanding and discovery. And all of these processes made people less and less dependent on the church for the truth. And more we started relying on the scientific method and the observation of our senses, the application of rational thought to ideas, right? All of these things took the place of blind faith, because we learned that science proved that the things that we thought were true weren't true, right? And so we started putting a value on repeatable results and predictable theories, right? Rational theories that provided predictable results, that we could know what would happen when we did X, Y, and Z. Very important when you're working with explosives. Very important when you're working with gasoline, that you have repeatable results. You know, you don't have to, if you're just doing faith healing and you're like, I pray that Jesus heals me, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. It doesn't have to work every time, because you can blame the victim. You can say your faith wasn't strong enough, brother. Maybe next time. But you know, it's not. You don't have to prove anything, because the will of God is mysterious. But if you take X, Y, and Z chemicals, and you take it through this process to create a specific powder that does a specific thing at a specific time, you need to be consistently doing that thing every time. And science can give you that, and faith can't give you that. So the idea that there was a one truth that you could find in spite of what the faith was teaching you was a big deal. And all of a sudden, people started embracing this and started looking for it. And we had the development of, so Mirandola created this school with the funding of the Medicis to teach the Hermetic principles and the Platonic principles that had been lost to Europe. And out of that, we got Trithemius and Agrippa and John Dee and Paracelsus and not necessarily in that order, but eventually we got Aleister Crowley and Levi. You know, we got all of our greats of our occult tradition all came through this school from the Mirandola School of our occult history, and they started teaching and embracing the ideas of alchemy, right? Because alchemy had these reproducible results, and you could actually create chemical reactions that would give you the appearance of gold, which was very important for arts that needed gold colored pigments, or for actually a lot of it was just for faking the jewels at the local market, because if you knew how to make your lead look like gold, you could sell it as gold. So anyway, these were scams for the most part. But eventually people started learning that you could mix and mingle these alchemical principles of the great work into this philosophical idea. And the Rosicrucian movement came into being, and the fraternal organizations and the mysteries of the Masonic traditions and the fraternal mystery systems started embracing the ideas of a rational approach to understanding this mystery, this true understanding of personal gnosis with God, right? That you could have that on your own, and you could experience it, and you could have a rational understanding of it that was not explained to you by anybody else. All of these things were possible because of the Reformation. It was possible because of the fall of Constantinople. It was possible because of the plague weakening the church. There's all these things that went into why it was possible for all these things to come together and manifest the way it did. But the way it did was great for us, right? Because now we have this system that allows us to individually pursue a unique personal experience with God that isn't reliant on other people, right? So this is the core essence of what Illuminism is all about. It's this idea that the rational mind and the rational individual can have a divine experience that will help them understand who they are. They'll help them have more power in the ability to control and influence their destiny, and more efficiency in their ability to create the world the way they see fit, through their mysterious understanding of the truth that comes from their direct experience with God. That's the essence of Illuminism, and that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to be doing with Illuminism. Hi, Robert. I'm glad that you got this live too. So this is the essence of what we're going to be doing with Illuminism in the cult. We're going to be using this concept of Illuminism to pursue God and to understand God. We're going to adopt this as our core essence, is the unique individual experience of the eternal deity that is then compared rationally to actually what's going on in your life, so that you don't end up with delusion. Because let's look at the risks of what comes along with a belief system that's based on your personal experience of deity, right? So that personal experience of deity can be something that you filter through your trauma, right? Have a very traumatic idea of what God is going to be like. Or it could be something that you filter through your desires for what you want God to be like, but it has nothing to do with what God really is like. So you've got this whole delusional spectrum of that. Or you've got your own personal issues about how your mother never loved you enough, so you have to be superhero. So your delusions of God are going to tell you how super you are and how special you are and how great you are, even though you haven't done anything with your life, right? All these things that you can run into, these self-delusional things are going to be there when you have a personal relationship with God that is your standard. When you don't have people being your gatekeeper, you don't have anybody that you can actually check to see if you're actually going crazy. Most of us aren't crazy. Most of us are pretty sane people, and we know better than to think that we can fly if we can't fly. We're not going to believe the stupid, idiotic things that people tell us are true if we know it's not true, right? But because it's coming from an invisible spirit, people can adopt the wrong thing. So it's very important that you have a therapist. It's a great thing to have. I have a therapist. I recommend to everybody you should have a therapist. Someone you can actually touch base with. If you can't afford a therapist, you probably can afford a therapist. Mine is in Argentina and charges low rates over Zoom, and you get the same quality care as everybody else in the world. But I actually, he's an occultist, and I can talk to him about crazy things, and he understands what's going on. But he's been helping me a great deal for the last few years and helps me keep my head straight. Also, if I start to get too paranoid and delusional, I can tell him what I'm thinking, and he can help me put my feet back under me. So having somebody that you can trust to be able to talk to, it doesn't have to be a therapist. You can have yourself a friend or a confidant. You should always surround yourself with other magicians. Back when I was first getting it started in the occult community, I had a wide array of fellow bloggers who I respected, who I could bounce my ideas off of, and if I was going crazy, I would trust them because they would tell me, "Oh no, rein it in a little bit there, Rufus. You're going a little too far. You know, you're taking this one a little bit around the bend." You know, I listen less these days, but it's nice to have that in place to keep you from going completely cuckoo. But you got to learn to trust those people. You know? So you can't just go with your personal gnosis every time. You know, keep it reasonable. There's no the ultimate test of a spirit is, if it says something is going to happen and it doesn't happen, it's a bullshit spirit. That's it. Bottom line. If the spirit's telling you something, test the spirit. Say, if you're true, tell me this, this, and this, or give me this, this, and this, by this, and this time. If they don't do it, kick in your skepticism, okay? Because that's what Illuminism is all about. It's rational mind. It's a personal skepticism. You doubt yourself first, and you doubt yourself most, right? There's a reason that Crowley embraced scientific Illuminism as the core of Thelema, right? It's one of the key things when he describes what the OTO and the MMM and the whatever else he's got with letters. He talks about how it's an organization based around the concepts of scientific Illuminism, which is the scientific method applied to the pursuit of Illuminism, which is enlightenment, right? So you pursue enlightenment, but you don't check your brain at the door. You continue to be a skeptic. You continue to doubt your experiences. You understand that chances are 99% of what you're experiencing is coming from your own self being projected into the world around you, because that's what we're designed to do. That's what the eye in the pyramid represents, is us projecting the light of the will of Zeus into the world. We're projecting the will of Zeus into the world to be experienced by the eye of Zeus through our personalities, through our wants and our desires, our memories, our future plans, our inspirations, our creative acts. All those things are us expressing the will of the eternal through ourselves, to be experienced by ourselves so that we can enjoy it and pass that back down up the food chain to the eyeball within us all, right? That's what we're doing here, right? So when you understand that you are designed to project your mind into the world around you, you have to understand that when you're pursuing an experience with God, your mind is going to project onto that some bullshit that may or may not be true. So always test it and test it again. Okay, I've never experienced anything with the divine that was not just down to earth, practical and pragmatic, and essentially true but not crazy. Okay, there's no, I mean, I've had supernatural crazy experiences happen, right? Like knowing my ex was pregnant, right? I mean, there's no way that I could have known that. It was a miraculous thing. You know, I've had whole jobs given to me out of the blue that I have no qualifications for. Amazing things have happened to me, right? I understand that there's supernatural things that are hard to explain that can happen to you, but the most holy and ecstatic experiences that I've had have never led to me doing anything that would cause harm to myself or others, right? And that's the bottom line, that, you know, there's no spirit or spirituality that will cause you to harm yourself or others. We're not doing this to have a bad time. We're doing this to have a good time, right? So anyway, you guys, have a good time. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for joining me. Next week or next whenever, as soon as I get around to doing it, the next lesson is going to be about Zeus the head, Zeus the middle, and Zeus the all in all. We're going to be exploring the idea of what Zeus ho Kephale, Zeus ho Mesos, and Zeus ho Pantocrator, what that concept of an existence does for us as magicians, and why we would want to start looking at everything as having a head, a middle, and an actual experienced reality. Because once you start adopting that understanding of what you're going through, when you understand that everything you're experiencing has an invisible side that's supporting it and a source that's thinking it, and everything you're wanting to do is going to have a middle. Anyway, it just gives you a process of manifestation that helps you understand your experiences better and puts you more in control and more in a more effective position in your life to materialize things the way you want. All right, so anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great week. I will talk to you all again soon. Really bad audio. Oh no, I'm sorry. I will work on that. Sorry. Well, I will work on that. Sorry. Hopefully next time it will be better.